And because they are catering to the government schools and the parents are in many cases are not so educated and they are not so tech savvy. So as Sudhir, you are from technology side, you know technology better than us. So what is the advantage of using our content on WhatsApp and what are the disadvantages and how can we continue using these kind of tech services when we are going to reopen our schools in India? In most of the part of the country, schools are already open.
Well, that's quite an interesting question. Sir, in the last 2 years, the way we've grown in terms of the last 2 years, the way the schools have one time, maybe about 5 years ago, 10 years ago, where we had to search for a certain technology solution. We come to a stage where we have to choose from among the 10 options available, right? And when you compare it to something which is as universal as WhatsApp, I think it kind of defines the choices that the people, whether it is the parents or it is the school owners or it is the teachers who are eventually implementing the technology solution. It defines as to how critical is the usability and the user friendliness of a certain technology is. We might create the best of the gizmos in the world, we might want to create the best of the learning, machine learning tools, and AI tools, and X, Y, Z things of the world. But the point here is at the end of the day, you have to keep child and the teacher at the heart of everything, right? Because whatever the best technology, so today you have people who are creating technology sitting the best IT companies in the world, whether it is Google or Microsoft, etc. But at the end of the day, it has to reach the grassroots level. It has to be able to cater to a city like Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and at the same time, maybe a rural India, which has actually become an integral part of the technological framework in which we are operating now. And this pandemic has actually brought us, all these aspects of technology and embracement right in front. And I believe, as owners of the leaders that we have, among the panelists and the audience out here, this is the thought process that has to go into when we are actually wanting to pick up from the technologies available. As to how do we select what should be our parameters to, shortlist the solutions which are available. And I believe that would probably lead to the best possible implementation. We've experimented this with all the students. And even in our own schools, when we try to implement it first and then see what are the results coming out. What are the feedbacks from the parents or teachers? I guess implementation is the key going forward. No dearth of exposure to technology at all levels across the country, across the schools. But I believe it's the assessment of the technology to the implementation that should be the key.
Thank you. So, sir, as now we have already reopened the schools. In most of the states, the schools are already also, ready to restart. So, how relevant would be this online education and use of technology, use of applications what we were using during the pandemic, and how much parents and students and teachers are going to accept, and how you would be balancing both the physical classroom as well as technology. How would be balanced, and how would we take advantages of the technology what we have invested in during this pandemic time?
Thank you so much, sir. I hope I'm audible. I'll just take you a little back at 10, 12 years or maybe 13 years back, we started with the SMS system. Then we got the ERP system, which were working and sometimes which were not working, right? And to get the work done on the ERPs was again a challenge from the admin staff, right? So then this, I just straight away jump to this pandemic and COVID time, then we shift on to online teaching, and slowly everybody got trained and people got used to it. And then we reopened the schools, right? Like in our area, we reopened the schools from July 16th, right? And it's a three-tier city. If you ask me from the parent perspective, they say no to technology, right? They are so fed up because of the more time spent on social media rather than on this thing, educational purpose. And if I go to see the root cause of that, The root cause is that in rural cities, in rural areas, the parents are not much educated. So the track of the child is not there. So if any kid is saying to his father or mother that, I'm looking at the assignment or some work or WhatsApp or news on YouTube, they have to believe. But on the other side, when they catch him or catch up, other things are happening, right? So the negativity has gone up. But I would not say in totality the negativity has gone up. There are kids who really, they showed up like anything. They were not so good in physical classes, but through tech classes, through online classes, they have improved a lot. So in the previous panel, as ma'am was saying, that we have to differentiate the kids now who are online friendly, so that we can spend less time with them, who are less and less, like different categories. But as a technocrat myself, I'm an educator and technocrat. I see myself. I can see a big shift towards the technology. Maybe we have just reopened the schools, so we are debating on that. But going down the period of say 2 years or maybe 3 years, and the AI coming into the picture, and there are so many apps, there are so many startups are coming. We really have to go hand in hand. Be it ERPs, like I personally never looked into the ERP much, but now the teachers are looking into it. Like they are sharing the assignments. So it's a game changing is happening where we all are confused, and but something is going to happen at the end of the tunnel. We know that whether it will be good or bad, we can't debate on that. We don't know, but it has to happen. The technology has to enter, as the previous speaker was speaking about, the grocery stores and the purchasing, and also about how AI will run your campus. That if suppose you have a crowd in some area, the cameras will sense and give signal to the admin staff that you have to decrowd the place. The thermal scanners, so many things will be there. So if these things will be there, then the teaching process also has to be hybrid. And we never know, pandemic-like situation can come again, some pandemic 2 or something, like, because we always have the versions 2 or 3s. So we have to keep the balance. This is what I say, that we have to keep the balance. As an educator, we cannot say no to one thing and yes to one thing. We have to.
Thank you so much, sir. So we don't want any more pandemic, sir, obviously. So we'll continue using technology, but we don't want any more pandemic. Right? Yeah. So, ma'am, in your case, you are from a very prestigious school. Uh, sir runs in 3 years. Actually, you are very prestigious student from affluent families comes to your school. So, what kind of demand is there in those kind of situations and in tier three? Because whenever we talk about any higher class people, then they must be looking for something different kind of solutions. And experiential learning, Singhania people were talking about. See, because when parents pays higher fees, then they'll look for the complete solution, whether it is a pandemic or no pandemic. So, what is your experience for last 20 months? How you handled the situation and how you extended the solutions, you find out the solution and extended it to the children and satisfy the parent and children and teachers as well.
Thank you so much for the question. Well, education is education. It really doesn't matter whether it's education for the elite or education for the masses. So the solution should be transportable from the elite to the masses, as well as the solutions which emerge from the masses to the elite. That's the first thing I want to do. We've come to these two new words, which are the buzzwords these days, which are, you have the Zoomers and the Roomers. So the Roomers are those who are inside the classroom, and the Zoomers are those who are on Zoom, as in like the hybrid mode. The question that you asked put to me is more so in terms of what is the demand. So the demand, or rather what I have utilized in these last 20 months. And this is also an answer to what somebody in the previous panel also spoke, and a question that I raised. people have actually, I mean, the children who come to schools, like I said, they are way beyond their intellectual level within the classroom because of this unlimited utilization of technology, which is both good and bad because excess of anything is not so great. But what has happened is it has also enabled the teachers and the educators to differentiate their learning. School as a social construct of the society has to go on. Like one of the previous speakers, she said that we may look into now an era where there would be no schools. But my understanding, whatever it may be, limited it may be, is that schools as a social construct must go on because there are places where the parents would send their children to effectively utilize the time because due to nuclear family system, they're unable to take care. And that's what has happened over the 20 months. They've been all stuck at home. They're bored of, taking care of their own children. They have their own ways and their own professions that they have to take care of. As a result, children have, in the same classroom, they become so heterogeneous. When the concept of classroom was made, the classroom concept was essentially to have people of the same or similar intellect level, which we would assign with their age groups to be seated together. So we would have people who are like 10 plus sitting in the same classroom, 11 plus sitting in the same classroom. What has now happened is, in the same classroom, the age may be same, but because of overexposure of technology, their understanding of the academics and non-academic concepts is different. Technology has, if I have to just put my finger to one concept, has allowed differentiation, right? So different intellectual levels, different heterogeneous groups can be dealt with in technology. With those differentiated instruction sheets that are created. By differentiation in content in the process, it's really been very, very helpful for us, not just to bridge the gaps in learning, which have been immense, but also to ensure social and emotional development of each child, which is probably the biggest challenge, more than academics. Learning can happen. Academic learning can happen anytime, anywhere. But the bridging of the social and the emotional aspects of learning is really a challenge, and technology has actually helped us bridge that. Thank you.
So, ma'am, one more question from you only. See,
I thought you would be asking me the first because I seem to be a minority among the men, but I was just
I'm just balancing the thing because
So you asked me the second question.
second question. So, right, what I believe during this pandemic time of 20 months, still it's not gone. So, in last 20 months, because all the children studying online, they have much more exposure of internet and devices and all that, applications and all that. Sitting at home, they have enough time basically because earlier the children were traveling to school, they have sat in, then they may go to coaching and all those things. Now for last 20 months, children are at home only. So I have experienced in interaction with the parents only. See, many of the children learn very much content. They have gone through much content about any particular subject or their studies or their class, and separate another part of number of students they are learning very less. But both of them would be in the same class when the school will reopening physically. So how will we handle that situation when a child who has not even learned that much what teacher taught, and a child who has learned much higher than what the classroom happened.
So that's exactly the concept of differentiated learning. You may have a heterogeneous group whose understanding of the same concept is different. I mean, it's at different levels for that matter. And assessment can be done in a differentiated system. For instance, this is the minimal amount of learning a child must possess while the child is in a particular grade. So that's called the minimal learning system, and differentiation in instruction helps. But the best thing, I mean, one of the great things about technology is the collaboration. So while they were at home, they've not just collaborated. It's not just the school that was sending out these Zoom sessions. After the academics and after all the co-curricular activities, the children were zooming with themselves. They were actually zooming with themselves, and they were, you know, a lot of peer learning was also happening. Now, peer learning was happening in desired as well as undesired areas, but yet it was happening. For instance, I would tell you, if there was a child who's an avid golfer and is in a particular group where other children don't know much about golf, they get to know the nuances and all the technical terms of golf because the child is thinking about golf. So a lot of learning beyond the classroom is also happening. But to answer your question specifically, the only way out is, and this is a huge terminology in the education world today, is differentiation. So my school, we have differentiated examinations, we have differentiated assignment sheets. So there is this must, you must do this, you could do this, you should do this. Must, should, and could. So you would get your 100% marks by just doing the must. But you prod them a little further, and nobody feels left out. So that's how you could bridge the gaps.
What I understood, see, now the schools are physically reopened, and we need to conduct some, we need to conduct some assessment kind of things for every grade to know how much child had learned during last 20 months, and accordingly we have to, make groups of the children, or we teacher need to help the children who have learned less, and we can then to balance the classroom.
It took 20 months for the kids to come back to school. It'll take 10 months to bridge the gaps. So there is no hurry. Let's accept the children as they are, and they will learn. So there is, you know, the what we need to think and what is more important is when they get back to their classrooms. Um, Teaching and learning will go on. And when I say this, why do I say this? The reason behind is that there is something called group dynamism. You can sit at home and learn at your level through YouTube, through experiential learning. I am really sorry if I'm offending somebody over here. But the point is that your individuality while at home, with no social dynamics, what are we heading into? What kind of a world are we heading into if these children will not know how to communicate with each other, to be sensitive as well as to be, sociable with each other? At the end of the day, society will stay and they have to be fit in society. So schools are not just academic in nature. Schools help children to fit into the society, to be sensible and sensitive to the needs of each other, which they learn while sitting in the classroom. That is actually what needs to be fixed at this moment, and then the remaining can
Everything
happen.
will be settled now. Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. So, sir, you are into technology field, right? No? Okay. So, okay. So you are from Udaipur. So Udaipur, again, every city is having their own dynamics and their own thought process, and demand of the parents, and what setup of your school. Because now the school, as I'm telling again and again, schools are physically reopened. So as ma'am said, emotional, social, and physical activities were not there when the children were at school. So we need to tackle all those situations. We need to work on the skills of children, is emotional skills and social skills and physical skills. So I think there is no need of technology as of now in school. So please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Uh, See, last 18 months, I think as an educationist and educators, we all have learned a lot of things. What has not happened in last 60 years, I think we were able to just do it in 10 years, which was digitalization of the education. We were talking about how to get digital technology to the classrooms, we were discussing about it. There were a lot of seminars and presentations that were happening before pandemic. Uh, we always had challenges. As one of the speakers from the previous panel mentioned that teachers didn't know how to put up the cursor, and then they were doing Zoom meetings. So similarly, I think that was the case of almost all the schools across our nation. And 21st March, I think officially the lockdown started, and the schools started taking. I'm talking about personally about my school also in that case, three schools in Udaipur. And we were able to start with digital classrooms in next 7 days. There was training which was required. Teachers they didn't know how to operate computers. All these things happened, and we talk about digitalization now. So last 1 year we've been talking about how technology can help us giving education, imparting education. But now one more very important thing which comes up is once we start up school now, what are the challenges? What points ma'am was saying are exactly correct. Now, when we see students coming down to the classrooms now, the first thing is that there's a disconnect. Even for 9 to 12 standard students who have grown up, who were somehow were more connected to the school and the classes they started a couple of months back, they think they have to learn each and everything. The mental disconnect was there. Socially, we have to work a lot. Now, I'll give you the example because the moment we saw students coming in, we all are on our toes to speak to the students. First of all, make that eye contact. That eye contact is missing. That smile is missing. Because you're so used to staying alone with your computer or with your gadgets and getting education. Hybrid mode will be there now. It is not going anywhere. So when we talk about technology, after you, it is there. But then what is happening? There are two ways of school. There are two parallel school which will be running. One, as I said, the Zoomers and the Windows time. Zoomers, yeah. The new terminology, yes. So as she mentioned, yes, these two technologies are going to be there. But with both these set of people, we have to work a lot when it comes down to EQ and SQ and EQ, AQ, adversity question. So I think right now with technology, yes, we are able to differentiate both the set of the schools. We are able to impart education, but school is not about reading and writing. School is about it's a full experience, giving a holistic development for a child. To bring this as to an into technology for the people who are sitting on the screen and still want education is a challenge, but it is doable. In future, you never know that we can come up with affiliations from the boards also that homeschooling but can get more education. They can
It's already come out.
it's already there. I'm just talking about in terms when it gets more publicized. So in that case, how you wanna implement all these things? Yes, hybrid mode is gonna be there, but these are the aspects I think where a lot of work needs to be done. And as you asked me that these are the challenges what's coming up in the school, these are the challenges that are coming, but by talking, by communicating, by teaching them all these things, I think we can overcome those challenges.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, what I believe, EQ, AQ, SQ, and new terminology should be added, TQ, technology quotient. Because in last 20 months, technology was the main thing that helped children to learn. तो बहुत सारे बच्चों को टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत ज्यादा अच्छे से समझ में आई है, उन्होंने बहुत अच्छे से यूज किया है, हाँ.
I'll say that our generation, the generation who's studying in the schools are far more smarter than us.
Yeah, I know.
If you talk about technological question, I think they're far more advanced than all of us over here. They already know we are the people who are learning it. We are unlearning and relearning a lot of things. But they're learning the right things. They are already there where we want them to be.
Your permission, I think the academic integrity has taken a hit. Last year's CBSE results, we did not even declare how many people ended up getting that. It was 100% and 99.9%. Uh, so with this pandemic scenario, it's the academic integrity that has really, really taken a hit. And somehow we need to actually work on that because we are back to the classrooms. And we could inculcate honesty, not just among the students, but also among the teachers for that matter, because they've also got so used to now yeah, using technology, whereby it's become very mechanical. So technology is a non-mechanical aspect. And we are a society. So the balance between a social quotient and this technological quotient which we're talking about is become a challenge.
So, as children were at home for last 20 years, they have learned many things which they were not. They may have learned. And I know, but as educator, we make them to unlearn the things which are not required at their level, and help them out to learn the things which are required, because last batch was pandemic batch. Again, this batch got half-yearly examinations are happening, CBSE examinations. Again, half year is pandemic batch. So, as ma'am said, we have to help them out to learn the things. Education is the right way, proper education, and the grading system, what CBSE has not declared. Just because they know all the students are given pass marks. So how will your schools? I know you have a chain of the schools, and good number of students your school altogether have. So what kind of help your teacher will explain to your children, unlearn and learn the things in the school?
Um, the wonderful question that you asked, I think it's a relevant question as well. And we've spoken about this at various times in the past. I've spoken to my staff about this as well. That that lot of the kids haven't really focused on their education for the last few months. And suddenly, when we reopen, what is going to the state of affairs in that case? What will we do? Um, even if you look at the tests as well, if you look at the tests that are on MS Teams and other platforms, a lot of kids they copy from the net and then we got the answers. So I think it's a very relevant point that you raised that, of course, that we're still looking for an answer. Prior to this, I was just on a panel, which was a virtual panel while I was on my way over here, and we were speaking about the NEP also. I think what has happened over the last 1 year is that the education system has gone into a state of shock. So on one hand, we got COVID, which has literally thrown us into the deep end of the ocean and asked us to swim in terms of tech, which we're speaking about right now. On the other hand, I think that we've got the NEP that is trying to revolutionize the education system by bringing in more, the pedagogical change and stuff like that as well. So I think it's a time of, it's a time of flux. I think that we're still stuck in the middle. I think that it's very important for us to understand that either there will be a revolution in terms of tech or there will be a revolution in terms of pure education itself. So it's very difficult for us itself as educators, but it's much more difficult for the kids. Now, suddenly we've been thrown into a world where for the last 2 years, for the last 1+ years, where we said, everything is virtual, we were sing song, whatever scene, we were some dance videos, watching. And now we're asking you to come back and do it offline. Now, there was a debate that two of our girls were part of last week, and I met them after many, many months. And these girls were in class 12. When these girls were in class 10, I think my ma'am also spoke about as well. Um, they were confident, they were effervescent, they were absolutely comfortable in their own skin. As soon as they came last week to practice that debate, they were lacking in confidence. They forgot to wish the teachers which of course they felt bad about. But then when I briefly tell my staff that that the kids don't wish me, it's because of the fact that it's not because of lack of respect. It's just that they're not used to it anymore, right? So they came on stage and then they spoke, and their hands were shivering. You know, they were in a very bad state. But they spoke on stage for 5 minutes and then they snapped back into it. Now those are some of the kids, of course, who will pick up steam fast, will come back on track in terms of various things that they were doing in the offline world. But what about a major chunk of the kids? They haven't even opened their books. Even the notes that you send them, even the presentation that you send them, if you look at the WhatsApp text that the educator that put to them, you will see that there are no text over there. And then the kids are fast. So we are going to face this issue. As ma'am said, 20 months of COVID, it will at least take 10 months for us to come back. But I think that now we've got to come up with a solution. Now is the time. As we're just about to reopen schools. We understand that there are various gaps in various terms. So we're going to bridge those gaps. We've got to come up with some solutions to those gaps. And I think the biggest solution is just give kids some time. This should not be a high stake year. So we've got the boards in a month or so. But I feel that this itself cannot be considered a high stake year because we taught the kids online 10 to pass boards, but we were to our offline tests for the first time after a very long time. So this might not actually be the true picture. Come March, things will obviously be much more different. But my only solution at this point in time, my recommendation to various, in terms of how to bring the kids back to school and how to reopen school is that let's not consider this a high stakes game. Let them just come back on track and give them some peace of mind.
So we need to give time to the children as well as teachers to settle down the things. We need to wait for the things to be shaped up. So Vijay, you and me both runs play schools also, a good number of play schools and primary and 10 plus schools. So what I remember in all of my workshops, I used to ask parents to keep the devices away from the children. Minimum screen time. And now the whole time was on the screen. So how will you convince parent now again to reduce the screen time? And how will parent will ask to give back the devices?
Right. Interesting question. So solution is within itself. As sir, we are into the endemic phase. So we are going through the phase. So we are into the endemic phase, I suppose. And as soon as the schools start, the screen time is going to reduce. Up to us, how much work we want from the parent, from the student to get back to the devices. As soon as the things come back, the devices will come down. Though in other phase, we are just discussing like within the last session that breakups and relationship are happening from grade 1 to grade 3. I believe what is bad about it. If my son or my daughter is going to be a partner at a venue and he or she will be wasting 2.5 hours in the traffic, it's better to return to anyway, I can't stop her. So look, we have to look at the good aspect, and I think 4 years, 5 years down the line, we will have a maybe a term or solution for the teachers, TG, maybe technology guru, like about doctors or engineers. So I think this time has taught us a lot. A lot of things has been given by this world's time. So I think carry those moments within the future, and I think we'll be able to see a different scenario of education and different world. Thank you.
So I think now we have to stop telling parents कि बच्चों को फोन नहीं देना है मोबाइल नहीं देना है. हम जो प्ले स्कूल में अपने पेरेंट्स को बोलते हैं, we should stop all these things because now we cannot ask children to give away their devices.
Richard is already having a device. My daughter is 3 years old. She keeps telling me every day, Papa, I want iPhone 13. If you don't have budget, give me iPhone 11 only. My older friends are having. Believe me, 30-40% of friends have their own devices. So I'm really surprised that 3 years, third class child, third grade child have their own iPhones and Android. And day before yesterday is telling me how to make a wonderful story.
Right. So we have 2 minutes left. So we one line answer only. Uh, Advantages and disadvantages of the technology after opening.
I think the advantages are quite limited. The way we've come in the last 20 months, like everybody on the panel and across the realized it, the kind of technology transformation that has made inroads inside the schools, kind of training and development that has happened at the teachers level. Students were always ahead of us. I think we are catching up. So that's one of the positive advantages. Disadvantages, like I mentioned in my previous discussion, is once again, they say Ati, right? Excess of anything is always bad. Just like you have mentioned right now, a grade 3 child, sorry, a 3-year-old child having his own device and spending the whole day on it is probably a disadvantage. As Neema mentioned right there, a balance is the most important aspect of any technology. Let's not forget, it's the technology which is there to support the learning. It's not that you're learning for the technology. So that is one thing which I believe every educator will have to be sensitive towards. I remember one of such physical conferences 2.5 years ago. I was speaking in Hyderabad, and that's the time I introduced iPads in our preschools, and I was questioned why are we doing that. And 3 months down the line, there was a pandemic, and everybody had to use like, and I think that has been a blessing in disguise to me. The first thing that we did in our preschools in Hyderabad is that we gifted a device to every child. That made me sustain 5 preschools, where I think preschools have suffered across the country. That made me sustain 5 preschools with more than 200 kids each. So that was probably a start which we just took in hindsight, and that has been a blessing. But I think it's the balance once again. Even today, when we go back to our physical schools or preschools, we'd like to have a balance. We would like to reduce that, screen time, build more of that social and emotional connect. That is one element which I feel is missing. Another aspect of that is discipline. Now that the kids have started coming back to the school, someone just mentioned, they did not wish the teacher. So those etiquettes and discipline aspect has already lost, not because of disrespect, but just because of it being out of habit. That's probably, in a nutshell, the disadvantages, and maybe we have to have a transition phase to bring it back to the new normal.
And thank you, Sukhi. So time is already up. But last question. Sir, you are from TFP Steel. That's the last question. So, what I have seen, I also have schools in TFP Steel, and lots of challenges are there to make the parent understand. So, what do you feel after this pandemic of 20 months, how the parent will accept this technology in future?
To get the time. See, things are changing, parents are also changing, the acceptability levels are also changing. I was just thinking to sum up in few lines that now the responsibility of school is not to cover the syllabus and to put the students in exams. Now the responsibility is the SU, DQ, so many responsibilities have come up now to run the school, right? And only one term which comes to my mind is that we all have to move towards the digital citizenship. So if we should all strive to get everybody on the digital citizenship, that will bring all the stakeholders as a responsibility because the technology has to happen. We cannot deny that. Maybe three grand cities and slower moving to that, but regular counseling of parents and interaction, meetings. So as somebody said in the previous panel that now every morning there is a challenge. The school running on school that used to happen will not be there. Every day is a new thing.
Thank you so much, everyone. We have very good panel. I'm so fortunate to have thoughtful speakers on the panel. And this is for sure technology is going to stay, and it will help. Even what I feel, it will help the students of tier 3 or rural area students. We are students from the rural area where they don't have good teacher for any subject. They can access, any lecture from the city or Delhi, like Delhi or Bangalore and anywhere. So technology will make it happen. And technology had made it happen. So thank you so much for such a wonderful discussion. And I think time is already